crowd as well. If anybody has questions, we have wireless mics, and we want you to raise your hands and ask a question. Let's start off with JC Morton, the 2016 USRA B-Mod National Champion, 2018 Lucas Oil Speedway B-Mod Track Champion. JC, thanks for joining us. Great to have you here. I wanted to ask you about B-Mod racing. It seems like that's the most popular class around these days. More popular than ever before. What appeals to you about that class, and why do you think it's so popular these days?
It's pretty popular. It's one of the most competitive classes every track runs in. It's a pretty budget-friendly deal. You don't got to go out and spend $30,000, $40,000 on an engine to compete. Everybody can join in for 10 grand or so and be able to race and be competitive.
JC, you might tell the folks a little bit, you were just a kid, how you got started in racing, what was the drive behind it, and really what spurred you on?
We got started in racing when I was 2 or 3 years old. Grandpa raced out here at the fairgrounds, and my dad raced as well. Just kind of grew up doing it, and then we started racing when I was 15, and I'm 28 now, and we've just been doing it for 10, 12, 13, 14 years now, and it's just a family thing. We got a wife and daughter, and they come to the races every weekend, and if it wasn't for them, it probably wouldn't be near as fun as it is. Parkview.
When you were at Parkview, did you race while you were a student there?
Yeah, we raced. My junior year was my first season that I ever raced. And then my senior year was my first full season, and we won 10 races that year. And then once I graduated, we started racing 3 and 4 nights a week, and been doing that for the last 15 years.
Dale Roker, of course, we talked to him earlier today. He raced in 6 different decades, and probably could still go out and beat half the people on the track today if somebody would give him a car. But Dale, when you see these modifieds of 2019, this era, you started racing modifieds in 1985. What were they like then compared to today, you think?
Well, they're a lot more sophisticated now, you know. They have, when we first started the modifieds, we were running Claimer motors, which, if you had a real good one, you might have $1,000 in it, you know. The chassis, the frame and cage has not changed all that much, frame and cage, but the suspension parts have changed a lot. They do all this stuff with these on dirt cars, where the rear ends move around and the cars run up and down. They look pretty weird on a racetrack, but that makes them get a hold of the racetrack, you know. We didn't do that with our car. We didn't have them, but they were a pretty cheap car. You know, I don't know. Me and Rex we had the first 2 cars, first 2 Dirtworks cars. And that first year in '85 that we ran, I ran 66 shows, and I think Rex ran 72 shows. That in 1 year. But I ran 10 times in speed weeks in Florida that year. Went down there for 2 weeks and ran 10 times in 14 days. So.
You were saying earlier today that you would race pavement in the afternoon at times, and change the car around, same car, and go race on the dirt that night.
Yeah, I've raced out here on the half-mile pavement, and as soon as the race was over, I had Rick Sharp usually and Don Davis and a couple of guys helping, and we'd jack the car up right here, put it on stands, change the tires, take the pavement tires off, put dirt tires on it, and run at West Plains that night. The same car. Maybe we might change the spring or two too, but most of the tires. And we was competitive both places. You know. Them was good old days. You know. We'd run, there been like the boy there, JC said, we used to run 3 nights a week and through the summer every week and 4 nights a lot of times.
JC, how many have you run in one outing?
Like in 16 or 17, we ran, I guess it was 16 when we won the national championship in USRA, we ran 63 shows.
63. Any of them ever 2 in one day?
No. Well, let me refrain from that. We went to Fountain City, Wisconsin for a big race, and the Friday night portion got rained out. And when it got rained out, they brought it into Saturday. We started at noon on Saturday, and we finished racing at 5 a.m. Sunday morning. So it was 2 in 1 whole day.
That is a lot.
It was definitely a full day. We made the show, and I think we ended up running 8th out of like 106 cars, so it was a pretty good race.
Ronnie Williams, of course, one of the longtime track announcers in the area, also in the Ozarks Area Racers Hall of Fame. Ronnie, you've seen a lot of races over the years. You've seen JC race at Midway Speedway on the dirt and other places. You saw Dale many times. Any stories that come to mind about either one of these guys that you can share with us?
There are several I can't share, I'll put it that way, but I used to enjoy watching Dale and Dean. And you can tell the brotherly love is out there, but I can remember Dale raced for a group out of Rolla, Timco. They used to run the pavement with that car. Then he had a little short Mustang, the old school bus that he cut in half. He'd show up at the old Bonneville dirt track on Saturday night with that. Now, Dale has been what we call kind of a leader of our drivers. And when I say that from a track's point of view, if we had questions, maybe thoughts, looking at rule changes or what we need to do to make a class better competitive, we pick up the phone and call him. And Dale always had the best interest of the drivers and the track and the class, not just what advantage do I have, what's it going to be for the best of everything, because we want to keep racing. So I've been very privileged, but kind of funny, at the Bolivar track, Dale had kind of not run a whole lot that year on pavement. And one of his proteges, Ricky Eisenhower, was running for a national championship against Mike Goldsberry. Now, Dale was in Tony's 10 car, and this race all come about. We run on Labor Day, Monday afternoon. We'd gotten shows in, and we used to have so many races in the NASCAR series. Well, Bill Ward, the owner of the track in I-44, would keep those rain dates in his back pocket, and he always told the drivers, if you got a chance to advance yourself in the top 10 in the region, or can better yourself, I'll use a rain date. Well, we turned around, and Paul Schaefer was at NASCAR News. He stopped at Bolivar on Friday night. We were running double headers for the modified, which was our main event. So I asked the track general manager, I said, got a question for you, because I was tracking that stuff. They take bad finishes, throw them out, good finishes, move you up. I said, if Goldsberry wins both ends, are we going to run Monday? Well, I was told I didn't know what I was talking about. Paul Schaefer showed up. He made a couple of phone calls and found out that Paul White down in Texas had crashed out in practice. Goldsberry won both ends of that doubleheader. That forced us to a Monday afternoon race. First thing Bill said was, boy, we're not going to draw a crowd. Dave, and the dash, Mike outrun Ricky. In the heat race, he outrun Ricky. And it was a fatherly advice. Dale took Ricky around, I was down the pits, put his arm around him, he said, I'm going to tell you something, he's faster than you are. You're going to have to get him on the start and put pressure on him. And I'm thinking, here's a guy that's going to try to win the race. He's giving an advice to somebody from his hometown who he's helped groom. Goes out there, Ricky did this what Dale said. Of course, Dale's trying to win it. So's Ricky, so's Mike. He got the lead early, forced Mike to get in a bad situation. He went on to win that NASCAR Sunbelt Regional. I've always had a lot of respect for Dale. Always liked to watch him race because he's a driver that is patient, good with equipment. Dale will tell you, I'm a budget racer. Is that right, Dale? Didn't matter how much money was involved, man, it was good.
Ronnie, there are probably 2 racing families that are foremost in the state of Missouri. One is the Ropers and the other Wallaces. And both represented here tonight. And I think Kenny is supposed to be up here, Okay, Kenny's on his way. Yeah, here he is, right over here.
Now this kid, watched him on the dirt graduate from a street stock, pure stock rookie class. He's developed into one of your best B-Mod modified drivers that is around. And I've had the privilege of not only announcing some of his races, but also as a race director, you have to kind of talk to these guys every now and then. And, the racers like to get an advantage, every advantage they can. Got a caution flag, and he tries to move up his top. Nope, move it back one behind this car number. They'll stay up. I'm going to ask you again. That's when you stern voice it, back behind such and such, please. So I've had the privilege of watching JC. I'd like to see what he could do in maybe a late model type car, maybe some pavement racing too. Further his career a little bit more. He's really done good. And if you win that national championship, you got to run 60 or 65 races. You got to watch your car count. You got to watch where you're racing and who you're racing against.
And JC's a little bit too young to, at least I assume you are anyway, too young to remember Larry Phillips when he was racing. But what Ronnie has to say is exactly the techniques that number 75 used. There were no prisoners involved, believe me.
Yeah, I never really got to watch Larry race a whole lot. I watched him on dirt when I was probably 4 or 5 before he finally gave it up. And he was probably one of Dad's favorites growing up. And I really I idolized Terry Phillips because he's my age frame, I guess. But Dad was a huge Larry fan, and like I said, I only got to watch him once or twice while I was growing up.
JC, hand that microphone over to Kenny. This is great having you here, Kenny. Thank you very, very much for being a part of our little reunion down here. Is this, if I can ask, your first time down here to this event?
So this is my third time here.
Third time, good.
I was here when it was in a city, and some big brown brick building, the Shrine. I think Judy Phillips was there at that time. Then I was here 13 years ago when the Wallaces got inducted, and now this is my third time. This event is so important to this area. There are names around here like Dale Roper, his brother Dean, Lester Freeby, Wayne Woody, Terry Brumley. I mean, I can go on and on, but this area is the epicenter of racing in the Midwest. These names are just unbelievable, and I'm happy that you all preserve it. It makes me really happy.
That one where Rusty, your brother, was inducted is where Henry Phillips presented him with a special gift on the stage that he was unable to show the public for obvious reasons.
So Larry Phillips was everybody's hero, and you know, Larry, the correct story is Larry took Rusty under his wings. Rusty wanted to be big time, so Rusty knew that he had to hang out with the great. Because you know, Larry would build his own race cars, or he would buy a Howe car, and Larry would work on his own cars. So Larry was the type of driver that he made his race cars handle so he could win. So you get a good handling car with a great race car driver, unbeatable, right? Dale will tell you, Larry was into his race cars. So Rusty went to school, and Larry Phillips taught Rusty. And then Rusty became great because Larry Phillips taught Rusty that the chassis is as important as the driver. And so that's what Larry taught Rusty, and the rest is history. Rusty Wallace became great because of two people, Larry Phillips and Dick Trickle.
Where's Kenny? You're going to tell a lot of Dick Trickle stories later, so we don't want to compete on those right now, but you're no longer a television broadcaster. How's that feel?
Man, it feels like $1 million. You know, TV found me. So I'm 55 years old now, and you know, I kind of mixed TV and racing together the first, say, 10 years of my career. So I would run the Cup race. So for example, true story, I'm lined up like 14th for the Daytona 500. Not long ago, when I was in the Furniture Row race car, Joe Nemechek was on the front row outside, and I was in a team car. And I'm working for Fox, and I'm on the pre-show, NASCAR race day, built by the Home Depot, or Sunoco, or whatever. So there I am, and Chubby Checker comes on stage, the great Chubby Checker. And now I'm lined up. Now I'm doing this TV show 3 hours before the Daytona 500. And I said, Chubby, and we're live on TV, and I said, hey, Chubby Checker, how do you do the twist? Chubby Checker, live on TV, took it, and he says, the way you put a cigarette out. So he says, you put a cigarette out, like Larry Phillips, put it out, and he goes, come on, baby. So here I am on TV, and so anyway, here's the way the story goes. Ed Hill, one of the Fox executives, he's got this accent. He's from Europe or whatever. And he goes, I cannot believe it. Kenny Wallace is in the Daytona 500. dancing with Chubby Checker just hours before the Daytona 500. So TV was great to me, okay? I loved TV. But then when I retired from driving in NASCAR, it became just work. So when I was driving the race car and jumping on the stage, it was a load of fun. Then when they said I had to go to work, then it was no more fun. Then it was Tuesday meetings and Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night in the hotel rooms by myself. And I started getting depressed, so we retired. And now what I do is I race my dirt modified full time. And the way I'm able to do it is I got great sponsors. I give motivational speeches. Gonna get one in Branson here March 8th, AGC group. So we give motivational speeches all over the United States. Run my dirt car, run about 60 races a year. Hey, I'm gonna run Humboldt this year for the USMTS race. I'm jacked up about that. I just confirmed that yesterday. See if I can keep up with those guys. But UMP's been my wheelhouse, and so yeah, quit TV and run the dirt car full time. Got 2 mods now. I'm jacked up. And how about old JC Morton? What a great kid. I'm so excited for you, man. It's cool to hear him say, I never raced, obviously wouldn't race against Larry Phillips. Did you ever see Larry Phillips?
Once or twice.
God almighty, man. I could keep going.
Here's a guy who's 28 years old. He's already won a USRA B-Mod National Championship. So any advice to him going forward in this B-Mod?
Yes. So here's the deal with me and B-Mods. So about a month ago, here, hold this in my mouth. Y'all are nasty people. So I just built a Pro Mod. So UMP calls them Pro Mods. You know, Pro Mod, B Mod, they're all the same. I would say this: you stick with that car as long as you can until you get enough money to go to the next level. Because here's my advice: when you start not having enough money, then it's no fun. So if you don't have enough money with that B-Mod, don't move up on that. Stay where you're at until you get enough money. Because if you're broke all the time, it ain't no fun. You just keep winning, okay? Then when you get too much money, move up to an A-Mod.
Hold on, let me look.
Rusty, or
Bill
I'm sorry,
Jones.
Kenny, a little bit later on, is going to talk a little bit about his remembrances of Dick Trickle.
I love you.
But my first year as the announcer out here, which was year before last, Trickle was down here. He was here as a special guest, and I remember the crowd going absolutely nuts when we announced he was going to be here on the asphalt track. You were out there. You remember, you had some dealings with what kind of a guy was he? What kind of a guy?
Well, I put it this way, I've been on the racetrack when he was on the racetrack. I was never in front of him.
He didn't like to us.
The only time I was in front of him when he was coming around. But I wasn't alone. There was a whole lot of people that wasn't ever in front of him. I remember the first time I ever saw him. Would have been early 70s at I-70. And no one down here had ever heard of him. No one up there had ever heard of him. He was in a Torino, one of the long, fastback Torinos. Refner was in a Mercury Cyclone. Same. Joe Rutland was there in a Monte Carlo. Joe Rutland was going to win that race, probably. It was 300 laps then. They call it the World Cup 300. Joe was probably the fastest car. He broke a transmission about halfway through. And I went over and talked to him. I said, who are these guys in these Fords? And I believe this or not, he said, I've never seen them before. Them guys hadn't been traveling then. This was early 70s. But they were running big block Fords, and Joe Rutland was running a big block Chevy, Monte Carlo. But he broke something, but Trickle won the race. Larry, of course, was the hot dog from down here. He was up there in a Camaro, fast Camaro. But Dick had that car, the way he drove that car, he had it geared probably one whole point higher than Larry. He'd be letting off going in a corner, and that thing be backfiring, and Larry'd go by on power. Wasn't gaining on him.
If Larry Phillips ever had a fault, It was because he drove in the corner too hard. And Schrader tells a great story. He says, Kenny Schrader says, Larry Phillips looked at me and said, Kenny Schrader, tell me what I'm doing wrong here at I-70 Speedway. Schrader says, are you kidding me? I'm going to tell Larry Phillips what he's doing wrong. I ain't telling you nothing. He says, but Larry, if I was you, maybe I'd back off like 10 car lengths earlier.
Well, that's the first time I ever seen Trickle. He was good, but Rattler was good that day, and they had about, I don't know, probably 60 cars trying to qualify for it. That was a pretty good race. That was something to see that day. Like I say, I never seen him before, never heard of him, but that's the first time.
We had Dick down here several years ago for one of the reunions at the Shawn Mosque. I had a picture because we were big Dick Trickle fans, my family going. We booed Larry, we cheered for Trickle, all right? So Dick's in there, and I've got this purple Mustang A&W picture that was taken that when the Arco series would come down here, we'd get. So I take it that night, and I'm helping MC with some stuff, and I asked Dick to sign it. Dick autographs it. Larry's sitting right beside it. I said, Larry, put your name on this one too. Now, I probably got something no one else has got. Picture of Trickle with Phillips and Trickle's name. Larry signs it, and then all of a sudden he sits up, and he looks, he said, you know what pisses me off about you, Trickle? And Dick looks at him and he says, what? He said, I didn't mind when promoters paid you a little extra gas money, because they do it to me on the West Coast. I didn't mind they give you a motel room, but he said, I could hear that damn Ford coming. And he said, I would turn to my right, because Larry was hugging the bottom. He liked to run the bottom. Dick liked to run the outside lanes. And he said, I'd pull over and I'd see you look at me. He said, you'd grin, you'd puff the cigarette, flip it, and wave, and off you go. He said, that's what pissed me off more than anything. And he said, then I'd heat my tires up trying to catch you so I could beat on your back bumper. But that was priceless right there. And it was, because it's so funny, because Larry never really showed a lot of emotion most times. You know, you talked about Rusty going to school. Rusty's got a great book out that I've got. Forget the NASCAR stuff. Let's get to the short track stuff. Your book is great. I first met this guy when his brother Mike come to I-44 in '85. We brought him down on a dirt race. And Mike is treating him like a slave. Kenny learned the hard way. You was the slave?
They beat me down. That's why I seek attention.
That's why he was asking for more money that night. It's priceless to read the stories that he's got and Rusty's got in their book. Driving the bread truck, no license.
Me.
That's a great one. Kenny had to work his butt off. But for this guy to go out, his first race ever, you come from an asphalt family.
Yep.
Mike ran some dirt, your dad ran dirt and asphalt both. Rusty was primarily asphalt. All right, Kenny goes Springfield Mile in a big old street stock car.
Illinois Street Stock State Championship.
First race you ever ran, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was fun. So I want to tell the story. Listen to this story. It's funny as all get out. So I'm in the bread truck. So back when we raced, we didn't have no money, so Rusty got a bread truck and we turned into the hauler. I was 14 years old and we're going to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So we never had any money and we would never leave at a normal time and get a hotel room. So we always left at 1 or 2 in the morning. We'd show up at Milwaukee racetrack and we didn't have to pay for a hotel room. I'm 14 years old. Rusty Wallace is in the back. Dave Wers is in the back. Paul Andrews, who became Alan Quickie's winning crew chief, he's up in the sleeper. I'm getting up around Milwaukee or Chicago. I'm driving that truck. And I'm so excited. I'm 14 years old and I'm driving a truck on Interstate 55, south of Chicago. There'll be a punchline here. You got to listen close, so it's funny as all of that. I look in the mirror, and in Illinois, the highway patrol, there were blue lights back then. All right? We're going to one of the biggest, I think it was a USAC race. And I yell out, I go, Rusty, Rusty, the cops are pulling me over. And Rusty's exact response was, he goes, oh my God, he says, I can't take this ticket because I never paid my last ticket. They'll take me to jail. Paul Andrews, remember, told you he was Alan Quickie's crew chief. That's where Paul came from. Paul's like, I can't take the ticket either. So listen close now to this one. So Dave Waters, his nickname was the dog. He is sound asleep. He's sound asleep, he's sleeping. Rusty goes, dog, wake your ass up, get up. You gotta take this ticket. The dog's like, he's got a little bit of a lisp. He goes, what the hell's going on, Wallace? Oh my God, what's going on? Dog, you gotta take the ticket. So here I am, and I pop this thing in neutral, and it's a bread truck, right? And I'm holding on to the steering wheel, and I walk out of the seat. The dog, he gets into the seat, and he's pulling it over, right? Now I've been driving it the whole time. Me, now Rusty's up, Paul Andrews up, we're all looking in the mirror. And we're all like, man, oh man, I wonder what that highway patrolman said. Man, oh man, I wonder if everything's okay. The dog, he comes back up in the holler. Now this is a true story, my hand on the Bible. Rusty goes, the great Rusty Wallace, he says, dog, what did that Illinois highway patrolman say to you? Did you get a ticket? The dog calmly responds. He says, yes, I got a ticket and you're gonna pay for it, Wallace. And Rusty goes, what the hell else did he say? What did that Illinois highway patrolman say to you, dog? He said, that Illinois highway patrolman looked at me and said, sir, do you know how fast you were going? The dog said, hell no, I was sleeping. Woo! So that's the whole story about that damn bread truck.
They left a little of it out.
Well, sometimes Rusty would tell a story and I'd say, I'd say, that's not the way it went. Rusty'd say, shut up, Herman, it's my story. I said, but you're lying. It don't matter, it's a good story. That story was 110% accurate. True story. Mark Martin drove around Batesville at 12 years old, all the damn time. I go down to Batesville and I'm like, who's that little kid driving through town? Then Mark Martin.
Kenny, you told a story at the Lucas Oil Speedway Media Day last spring. As I recall, something about Rusty, you were with Rusty and he left you at the racetrack, or?
Fort Smith, Arkansas.
Fort Smith, Arkansas. Can you tell the folks that story?
So, we're down, okay, the first time, Fort Smith, Picola, Oklahoma. I'm gonna run there this year, I believe. The spooker got blasted out, so I didn't get down there. But anyway, so this is big. This is one of the biggest things around the Ozark Racers area. ASA is coming to Fort Smith, Arkansas. The home of Larry Phillips and Rusty Wallace and Mark Martin. We run down there every Saturday night. We would run Ozark Empire Fairgrounds on Friday night, Fort Smith Saturday, and then we'd all ass back to St. Louis and run Lake Hill. So I'm so excited because ASA is down there at Picola. We're at a restaurant the next day. We're at a restaurant. And we got the motorhome, and we got the race car home. Well, we don't have any money, but we're all excited because we got somebody that's got a motorhome. We're big time. So we're coming back, right? And we stop at a restaurant, and I tell Don Kern, who's building our motors, I say, Don, I'm going to the bathroom. This is a very important part of the story. I'm like 12 years old. I'm like, I'm going to the bathroom. Okay, Herman. They all get in the truck and trailer and motorhome, and they head north towards Springfield, Missouri. Get on Route 66 and take it on into St. Louis. I come out of the bathroom, I look and there's nobody there. I immediately go to the front desk or whatever it was there, and I call my mom. And I start crying. I said, Mom, they have left me. Ken, my mom always called me Ken. I said, Ken, where are you at? I said, Mom, we're in Fort Smith, Arkansas. And they've left me. Well, before that, what I didn't say is, my dumb ass just started walking home. Later, I realized I was walking to Florida. So, my mom gets a hold of the Arkansas Highway Patrol. Now, this totally accurate story. They pull the motorhome and the truck and trailer over. So the Arkansas Highway Patrol got the motorhome and the truck and trailer pulled over. Rusty Wallace's truck and trailer just got done running the ASA race. They go to the, this is where it goes south. They go to the motorhome, they look up and they go, is there a Rusty Wallace in here? And Rusty's like, I'm in right here. Is your brother Kenny Wallace in the motorhome with you? Rusty goes, no, Kenny is back in the race car hauling. Highway patrolman goes back and says to the truck, is Kenny Wallace in here? They said, no, he's in the motorhome. Larry Phillips had a crew member at the time, drove some AMC Matador. I don't know where he's at, I forgot his name. Rusty was never so mad at me. He had to, now Rusty made it into Springfield. Sent that kid all the way back to Fort Smith, Arkansas. Delayed this deal like 4 hours, brought me back. I'm up here right here on old 44. Rusty's so mad he could just go nuts. He goes, what in the hell happened to you? And I was like, Rusty, I went to go to the bathroom and I couldn't get the toilet paper off the roll. And it just took me a long time. I come out and you all left me. It's like, you little son of a, let's go, we're done. So I'm 55 years old, and when we're at the Denny's in Arnold, Missouri now, I stand up every time, most of the time. Anytime I eat now, and I could be buying, which I buy all the time, I look at everybody in the restaurant and I go, I'm going to the bathroom. Don't believe me. Crazy stories.
That's awesome, Kenny.
Anybody in the crowd like to ask a question of any of us up here?
Enough.
Raise your hand if you have a question.
Pick me up later on.
We have a microphone, we'll get to you.
Nobody have any questions out here?
Right here.
All right, we do have, I've got it, I've got it.
How did Dale and Rusty get along with Dale?
Get along with Dale?
Get with Dale, yeah.
Senior? Yeah. Dale Roper?
No, Dale Earnhardt.
Where's that microphone? Where's the microphone, JC?
I got it.
J.C. Morton, ladies and gentlemen, out of San Bernardino. How did Rusty Wallace get along with Dale Earnhardt Sr.? They got along beautifully, and let me tell you why. First of all, it needs to be known that I love my brother more than anything in the world. If it weren't for my brother Rusty Wallace, I would have never made it. People come up to me all the time, JC, and they go, where'd you get all the money to race? I said, we didn't have any money. I said, my brother Rusty let me work on his race car. And Rusty put jeans underneath it. Rusty would feed me, put me in clothing. So I made it to where I'm at because of my brother. But then when it came to driving the car, I had to drive it. Rusty wouldn't drive the car for me. I learned years ago watching Rusty. So the great Roger Penske told Rusty Wallace, if you want to race for a living, you need a sponsor. Clean your act up. Shave, look good just like you do. You look good. Rusty learned at an early age that Rusty Wallace and Dale Sr. putting on a show was good for the sport. Rusty is wise beyond his years. Rusty would go in practice, right? And Rusty was the fastest in happy hour. Okay? Earnhardt would go out, and they were at stopwatch, and they'd ricochet through the garage area. Earnhardt's quick now. And Rusty said, put a new set of tires on there. So the deal with Rusty and the great Dale Sr. is Rusty always wanted to be better than Earnhardt because Rusty knew Earnhardt was the man, right? So Dale Sr. drove Rusty, and then Rusty drove Dale Sr. They had this competitive rivalry, but they really liked each other a lot. And I'll tell you what Dale Sr. said to me. I'm up at St. Paul, Minnesota, and Earnhardt's up there with his black number 3. He built an ASA car. I'm going to explain Dale Sr. to you right now. I'm young. I go into turn 1, halfway through the race for the big fair. St. Paul, Minnesota, so much fun up there. Biggest fair in the United States. And I get halfway into turn 1 and 2, and I look up, I see Earnhardt, and I was, well, certainly I can get through this corner and let him by. I go down into turn 1, and the great Dale Sr. hits me in the ass, lifts me up. I save it, barely. After the race, Dale Sr. come up to me, he goes, Herman, I like you. And I said, why? Why do you like me, Senior? He says, because when I hit you in the ass, you had two choices. You could have wrecked or saved it. And you saved it. Earnhardt was so good when he hit you in the ass, he thought it was funny. I didn't, because I wasn't that talented. I'm like, I think I might wreck this car. So, Senior grew up in North Carolina. He was the Marlboro man. Every man here wants to be Dale Senior. He just can't. He's that great. Rusty wanted to be Senior. Senior liked Rusty. They truly liked each other a lot. You know, I'm not going to use the word love, but I believe in my heart of all heart that if Rusty was here right now, there was three guys. Larry Phillips, and this is in order. Larry Phillips, Dick Trickle, and Earnhardt. Those were the three. And that is the truth. That's it. Did I answer your question? Damn, this is therapeutic for me.
Questions out here? Anybody, please raise your hand. Happy to answer them.
There we go. One for you, later one, this past year, Turkey Bowl. You and Jackie Dalton. Well, that was a tough racing deal there. I can place blame on him or I can take blame for myself. It was just hard racing. Split-second decision there. I could have checked up, turned under, and probably went on and passed him and won. I chose to take the high side. I felt like I was a little farther up there, but it's just tight, hard racing. We'll regroup. We'll be back out at Humboldt, February 28th to the 3rd, and we'll be back this year. So, just hard racing. No blame, just hard racing. Anybody else got any questions?
I got a question for Kenny. In your career, was your proudest moment pushing Dale Earnhardt across the finish line?
My dumbass, always putting on a chauffeur. Was my proudest moment pushing Dale Earnhardt and running second. So we won 9 NASCAR Xfinity races, right? We won 9 NASCAR Xfinity races. Those were the biggest moments of my career. But when I run second to Dale Sr. in Alabama, stop and think about it. And that was a big deal. But here's what made that deal bigger. When Dale Sr. got out of his car in Victory Lane, and all he did was say, the only reason we won this race was because Kenny Wallace got loyal to me. It was all Kenny Wallace. That's the reason we won this race. I looked up. Minutes after that, everybody from the Alabama area, they instantly become my friends, my fans. We'd get done drinking beer in the middle of Talladega Boulevard, and they go, Herman, I love you, man. I'm like, why you love me, buddy? Come on, man, you pushed my man to the last one of his life. I love you. So, anytime I get to drinking beer with my friends down south, that's what they remember, was Earnhardt telling them the reason he won was because of me. So in a weird way, it was okay then, but we did not know that was going to be, Dale Sr.'s last win of his life. So it hurts like hell to tell that story. I'd much rather that there's been another race. And it didn't hurt that was $1 million bonus. So when Senior won that race, that was the Winston 500. And that was a no bull race. So Dale Earnhardt Sr. won $1 million bonus. Senior come up to me later on and he goes, Herman, what do you want? I said, I don't want nothing. Because it was Dale Sr. that gave me my break. The very first NASCAR car I ever drove was Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s black number 8 GM Goodrich Chevrolet at Martinsville. So after that, Senior, he loved vodka and Sunny Delight orange juice. So after that race, that's what we drank. Vodka and orange juice, but it had to be Sunny Delight, the brand. All right, I'm tired of talking.
Question is, are you going to have anything else to say when you get up here?
Oh yeah, oh, I got lots of shit.
This is only excusing the service, isn't it? Any other questions? Please raise your hand. Happy to get them. Nothing?
We're just about ready to wrap things up. The official program will start here in about 20 minutes. So, Ronnie, you want something else to add?
I'm old. I've seen a lot of race drivers from the official side working on the track, and I've got a lot of great friends, but I can honestly say in all the years, I've never seen anybody enjoy racing probably more than that man right there.
Yeah, hell yeah.
All right, now, I'll tell a story. Nashville Fairgrounds.
Yep.
Bob Harmon takes over the lease.
Yep.
Busch Series gets to come to town.
Hell yeah.
You're driving the Red Dog.
Dominated.
Right,
Until
all
the
right.
damn alternator went out.
I'm in a motel room.
Dialed.
All right? And I'm hearing this laughter and yelling right outside my room. Didn't think much about it. Figured just a bunch of drunks. I'm hearing more laughter and yelling. I gotta see what's going on here. I open the door, and there's Kenny Wallace and his crew. Now, Kenny, I've met him probably 3 times. One of them was done at I-44 at the Race of Champions, when we had the biggest crowd probably around this area.
I remember that.
Kenny looks at me, and this is what really surprised me. He's having a good time. He'd struggled in practice, but then they got the car dialed in. And your car owner's from Nashville, so you definitely feel like you got a win
We were on
tonight.
toss it.
Yep.
We quit early.
Turns around and he looks at me and he points his finger at me. I'm thinking, oh great, here we go. Lebanon, Missouri, I-44. Yeah. Race of Champions, I said, yeah. Announcer, I said, yes. Nobody loves racing more than him.
Yeah.
Dirt, asphalt, and the people. You love the people, don't you?
Yeah, I get emotional when I come back here because when I was a kid, you know, I used to watch the greats, like I told you. I mean, started out in Rolla with, God, I remember the names like they were yesterday. I remember the announcer used to call Willie Crane, Willie Crane, Lester Freebie, Don Cordalis. Where's Brumley at, by the way? They say he still looks 20 years old. I mean, look at you, stand up, Terry. Look at Terry Brumley, 12 years old still. Hey, how old are you now, Terry? What? 72? What the hell do you do to look so young? Work every day. You're my hero, man. One of the greatest, man. Hey, I'm going to tell the story, and then if I tell it wrong, you fix it. I'm going to tell a story, but if it's wrong, you fix it. Is it true that when they put a bounty on Larry Phillips at Raleigh, that you and Larry got together and Larry said, you're going to win, and then come here for a minute. Did you screw those guys and y'all split the money and let Larry win?
We sure did.
My dad? Yep. Lesson number 1, when you put a bounty on another driver, be careful that they don't, that was awesome.
I went to work for him the following Monday. We hired him.
So, the Trickle sisters are up here. Remember that story I told you earlier? We're going to do this later on, but we don't want to ruin it all now. But Dick's sisters are here, and we were talking about how great they were now. They used to put bounties on great drivers. Larry Phillips, smart, Trickle and Phillips, they raced for a living. They needed the money. That story I still tell to this day. It is so, you needed the money. That story is so badass that it's just unbelievable. Terry Brumley. Married? No, what is that? Where are you from? Home of the Squirrel. Right here. Okay. That was awesome. That was awesome. So the story is true. They screwed the promoter. Good job.
Hey, thanks everybody so much. Thanks to our panel, Kenny, JC, Ronnie, Ned, and Dale. Thanks so much. Stick around. We'll have the official program come up in just a few minutes.
Yeah, I got the towns mixed up.